Welcome to the Dance Studio Empire podcast business series. This podcast is about building your studio empire, whatever that is for you, whether you're just getting started or striving to hit the elusive $1 million mark. This business series will give you the confidence and know-how you need to transform your studio and give you the business you've always wanted. So sit back and get ready to build your dance studio empire. All right, everyone, welcome back to this week's episode of Dance Studio Empire. And I am super excited to have a special guest with us today. Her name is Melissa Rose, and she is the owner of the Dancing House, which is in the USA, and also the host of the Brick-and-Mortar Visibility podcast. I feel really grateful to have you on here to be able to share your wisdom and your knowledge with our listeners. And I know they are going to get so much from you. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Jen. It's just a privilege to be here and an honor to be here and to speak with you. So thank you.
Thank you. Now, time zones, we've had to work it out because which is part of the challenge, but I think it's pretty decent timing for both of us. So it's all worked out well. But so I would love if you could just tell our listeners a bit about yourself, how your career started, where you started and where you are now. Please enlighten us.
Absolutely. Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for listening and checking in here. I am, first of all, a mama. I have 5 kiddos, ages 19 down to 10. And I started my studio business out of my home. And I started it when my 3rd baby, right after she was born, I started going crazy and thought I should move a little bit more. And I just needed something for me because I was just not just a mom, but you know what I'm saying. I was mom and I lost my light a little bit. So I started teaching and I was really wanting some mama time. So I started teaching adults out of my house. And I literally asked the neighborhood ladies to come over and said, I'll teach like a dance type fitness class. Like I just was so desperate for adult interaction at that time. So that's how it started, y'all. And I quickly learned that kiddos were more consistent than adults. Adults, would come, but then they, after a few weeks or a couple months, they, things change, schedules change, life changes. So it stayed that way for 10 years. And I was the mom and I grew my studio to about 120 students just out of my home. And I was teaching all the classes and then a mom during the day. And I was fine with that. I genuinely didn't want a big studio. I was like, nope, this is fine. And then life happened. In 2015, my husband came in the door and asked for a divorce. And we had our 5 kids at that time, 11 down to 2. And things got real quick. And I needed to figure out, am I going to get a day job or am I going to figure this out? And I was like, well, I'm not the first person to open a dance studio and I'm not the first person to get divorced. I just haven't seen 2 people with 5 or people do it with 5 kids and all that. So, there are some role models, that have done a lot of things, and mentors. So Jen, I put my head down and I learned everything because at that time I literally used my computer for email and Facebook. And fast forward, I have a commercial space. We have a beautiful rec program that we are the top rated dance studio in the Twin Cities area. We are the go-to studio for beginner students of all ages making dance the highlight of their week. So we just really focused in. I really leaned into marketing. I kind of learned that I really like it. I happen to be kind of good at it. And I just dialed in and I look up and I'm like, whoa, okay. Don't get me wrong. It was a lot of fun, fun with a capital F, as I say. But, that's what I do. So then, within that, I, experimented with some online things, creating curriculum, selling curriculum online. I ended up with Dance on Demand. So that is a service or a program that we have for our students. And it's open to anybody and everybody who wants to learn to dance or get back into dance. So it's an online library, plus you can stream classes live. And that was well before the world shut down. And now we just have that available kind of as a bonus for my adult students who take class because it's geared for them. And then my podcast, which I started in 2020 because I thought I thought I had everything figured out. So I thought, I could tell other people what to do. And then the world shut down and then we all learned again. So now we're still here. We're still kicking. And, so that's a little bit of my story.
Wow. I mean, it's so inspirational to hear that, and watching, particularly watching other women just being so resilient and pivoting when they need to. I think it sets such a great example for those who might be feeling like they're struggling at the moment. And, even a lot of studio owners bouncing back, I've found from COVID, they're really struggling because they've had to pivot so fast and learn so fast. And I mean, you're ahead of the game. You did it before all of us had to learn. But
it was funny, but not funny. I was like, oh, okay. And just, I remember teachers talking to each other, within the Facebook groups and everything, like, how do you teach to the camera because everything's reversed or whatever, and how to, with the camera and everything. I mean, just that part of it, the technicalities of the tech, just was interesting. And I'm like, okay, well, at least I kind of have a clue there, but not fun.
Yeah. Oh, look. Yeah. But I mean, it's so, did you find with that, having that dance on demand, that it helped to retain your numbers? Like, so when everything was shutting down, was that just ticking over anyway?
What's funny, Jen, is that I had studio owners reach out to me. They're like, I bet dance on demand is booming. And I said, you know what? Surprisingly, it's not. Okay. At least for me. And the reason I felt it is because everybody was zoomed out. Yes, we held our classes on Zoom with kiddos. But I didn't receive a bump in like, okay, we're going to do this. I personally didn't. I think people were just really trying to navigate, learning Zoom back then too. There was a lot of people that were brand new to it, never used it before. So they, a lot of my classes there were recorded, they were the recorded classes on demand, So, now it's different. People are like, yep, I'll take it from home or take it from Arizona, across the country and join in. So.
Yeah, so good. And now, having 5 kids, I know there are a lot of listeners here who have children, and maybe they're at 1 or 2 and 3 and know how hard it is. I can't even imagine with 5. I don't know how you feel about the word balance, whether it is real or not, but how do you manage? How do you share the emotional load with your businesses and your kids?
That's a great question. And I know you've spoken about this, it ebbs and flows, and there's busy seasons and there's not busy seasons. Like today, we're on spring break this week. That's why I'm able to stay up past 8:00, y'all, because it's like 8:30 here. But today I was with my boys and we went skiing, and just literally sitting on the deck and looking out on the ski hill and watching them, and just being so thankful for the time to just be fully present, and appreciating that this isn't a busy season right now. Like literally this right now, today and this week is slower. But yeah, I have a close group of like 3 or 4 friends that just are my rocks. Like they just, we're on Voxer and talking and, helping each other and listening to each other. I think that really helps me. Sleep is another one. I'm not one of those people that can stay up super late, and I need my sleep. I know I do, because then everybody's happier. So I just am really strict with my schedule so that I get enough sleep and I'm taking care of myself, so that way I can take care of the others. And I will say this caveat, and you take it for what it is. I'm divorced, and I almost feel sometimes that's easier because I do get a break, and it's very black and white with our schedules. So he has the kiddos on certain days and I have the kiddos on certain days, and we really respect each other's time that way. So that way I can just like, okay, breathe a bit and then focus on the business. So I feel at times it's a little easier for me that way.
Yeah. I really appreciate that transparency, actually. It's
Mm-hmm.
interesting because even within my own family, we've got, split families,
Mm-hmm.
and and they say, this, my brother in particular, every second weekend they spend together, so they
Mm-hmm.
get more quality time, better quality
Yeah.
time with each other than I do with my husband. So it's really
Right.
interesting. And I really, really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of women feel guilt, that having that sharing and leaving their kids.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I personally don't feel a guilt for working. I just I'm I'm raising independent women who are, they're doing well. They're, certainly it's a roller coaster like most times, but just removing that guilt, because I'm working for my family and I'm teaching my kids
Mm-hmm.
that it's important to work. If they want the nice things, then mum has to go to work
It's
to earn the money.
exactly. And I've heard you say that, and I really love, because you do not hear a lot of women saying that. And, yes, there's times when, you have to miss out on stuff, or there's things that you're not able to be there. Like there are times when I miss out on kiddos events that I'm like, that's not ideal. But at the same time, they know they can call me. They know if I could get there, I would. Sometimes I go to events and they don't want me there, and they made that clear too. And I'm like, well, I'm coming because I'm available. So I'm showing up. So it
Oh,
goes both ways, y'all. So, but yeah, I do. We're raising strong women. I have 3 girls and 2 boys, and my top one, she is fierce. She's a Vikings cheerleader, so she got to be an NFL cheerleader right out of high school. She's a high achiever. She works hard. She's going to school and she's working and she's doing it. And each one, we hope leads out and is strong that way too. But we lead by example. My dad always said that.
yeah,
Just,
absolutely.
walk the talk. Don't lecture. Just do it and they'll follow.
Yeah. And I also love that you mentioned community and just, having that inner circle that you can rely on, because it is hard. And I think I keep saying women and men, of course, this does work for studio owners who,
Mm-hmm.
who are male, but obviously I deal with a lot more women and I see it, and they almost feel like they can't reach out and ask for help. And I'll always say, just if it was you, if someone asked you for help, would you help them? Would there be any hesitation? They're like, no. I'm like,
Right.
that's how it would be, share
Mm-hmm.
that emotional load. And I think you
Mm-hmm.
spoke about earlier how it really does ebb and flow. So you're having your seasons of, you know, ease, and then there's ones of challenge. And I think, reaching out, asking for support, and you're a beautiful example of how that's worked. So again, thank you for sharing that. It's really
Mm-hmm.
great.
Absolutely.
Our lives are very parallel. It's quite funny, even the way we started and the way, we run recreation studios. So, I feel, quite aligned with
Yeah.
you, which
Yeah.
is great. And you do a lot of work with studio owners within coaching, and you have some different programs running. Have you,
Mm-hmm.
which we'll go into a bit more detail later, but have you noticed trends or challenges? So particularly with how studio owners are running their studios. Have you noticed things over the last couple of years?
I've worked with a couple studio owners. I tend to do the service-based brick and mortar studio, like the fitness boutique or the physical therapist, or, and there are some dance studios as well. I think it kind of, as far as like struggles, they're kind of all over the board. I think one is hiring and not giving enough time to training.
Yep.
And it backfires on them. And I've seen this on both sides of it, as my daughter is trying to get work, getting work and getting hired and, working with those studios because she's a dancer, or on the other side, people hiring. And it's my first thing I say, okay, yes, the job description. Yes, getting it out there, finding the people. Yes, it's so hard to find people. Yes, I get it. But we have to make sure we're taking, set yourself up for success. Let's give them enough tools and training and really be present in that training. Don't just give them the Google Doc or don't just give them the video to watch or whatever. You got to be there. And my daughter gave me the best compliment. She goes, Mom, you overcoach. You overcoach us. She goes, Mom, I know how to do my job. I go, okay, so you could take that as micromanaging. I don't micromanage. I will just say, hey, just by the way, we have this new student coming in, or, be mindful of this, it's something like that I'm telling them over Voxer, or even my team tonight, like so good for the hands-on corrections. It was so great to see you doing that and, just getting right in there. I want to give that encouragement right away. But yeah, setting yourself up for success by training your team and giving them enough time so that, they're not floundering, not frustrated, and then they leave and then you're back to square one.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's such a foundational skill. Yeah.
But it's hard. It's super hard. And we're always hiring when we are so stressed. So that's
absolutely,
it's like that double-edged sword. Like, oh, you should have hired when weren't as stressed, but you didn't need it as bad. So.
Yeah. Could you talk us through the brick-and-mortar visibility podcast that you do have? Who do you talk with? So you mentioned that you work with several different types of studio owners, and what sort of advice are you giving them?
So I have had the brick-and-mortar visibility podcast for 3 years, and it has ebbed and flowed. As far as, I first started talking about business owner stories. I wanted to hear the nitty-gritty. And now it's really what's funny, because I told you when I started like really diving into my business, I barely knew how to work my computer. So now what's funny is that because of the marketing that I've really gotten into, I've really become, I don't want to say an expert, but I know enough to be very dangerous with SEO and being found on Google and getting first on Google. And that is what's resonating. So, my brick and mortar businesses, the service-based businesses like the physical therapist or the chiropractor or, like the people that do those hands-on services, mainly in the health and wellness industry, because that's what I'm also in with a dance studio, yoga studios, Pilates studios, things like that. Talking and helping them be found. And then they're going, oh, now you've had your business for a while. So could you help me with, this and this? Then they're asking other things, but it's the SEO and, getting them found and getting them liked and trusted faster. That's what's resonating for people. So that's what's really fun. So I have a free workshop that people can take and just have it and take it and do it themselves, or they can hire me to do it for them. So.
Yeah, beautiful. And I've heard you talk about the power of collaborating and, what that can do. And I would love if you could go into more detail with that. Our listeners will be able to take on board, a lot of the knowledge that you can share and implement it into our own studios. Would that be okay if you spoke a bit more about that?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Collaboration is one of my most favorite ways to grow, to get more visibility, to get more warm fuzzies in the community. The community loves it when we work together with other businesses. So collaboration is just so natural for me and I really love it. So, I just have a few tips here for collaborations and different ways you can do that. And, I've done it in my studio. I've collaborated outside my studio and I've collaborated digitally. And I'm going to just talk a little bit about that because this might spark an idea for you guys in your business, to do, or, I got one of these ideas from literally a beef farmer. Literally, she wanted to grow her network with other area farmers. And I was like, how could that work for my industry? And I created something that's been really kind of fun. So, when you are collaborating, number one, you always want to make sure you are super intentional with your audience because we want to be around people who also are interested in your service. Okay. But, so we have direct, competitors like our soccer groups or our swimming lessons, those are direct, competitors as far as they could take away from us, but they're also, are there ways that we can work with them? Of course, your elementary schools and your libraries and stuff like that. but being really intentional with that. There's another way too, like for us in the studio, I had a physical therapist come in and do an event inside our studio just for women's health. And it was a really great way, for her to get in front of her ideal audience. And then for my studio to provide more value to my current clients. And that thing sold out. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, oh, this is really, and then I got new clients out of it too, because people saw it. Both of us promoted it. So it was a win-win for both of us. So just be super intentional with that. And, think outside the box a little bit about, who, like for me, one of the things that I do is, Healthy in the Valley. It's a digital collaboration of business owners, physical therapists, acupuncturists, chiropractors. Those are people that my clients use and want and need. So I am collaborating with them, and we are all getting in front of each other, in one of the spokes of my business.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. And from it, you mentioned that you actually sold out. So you ran it essentially like an event, and
yes,
by having that, and it's, as you say, it's a win-win for everyone. I think it's really valuable, and I think it's underused for a lot of dance studio owners, in Australia. But just utilizing those contacts and the network, and I think we are getting better. But yeah, just this is really good just to remind everyone. And the workshops, everyone's doing a workshop, and they're getting industry professionals in. But as you say, let's think outside the box. What can you do that's different? What's going to be the draw card and make you different to the studio next door? That's what I love. I love about that. I love so. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, I want to dive a little bit deeper in the think outside the box, because this idea that I had for Healthy in the Valley is about a year and a half old. And this is truly like, it's not geared necessarily for dance. I was like, how can I get my studio, my brand in front of those people? And I was thinking for Dance on Demand, because that physical therapist or the chiropractor, they want their people to move. Okay. But maybe they don't want to go to the gym or whatever. They want different ways. Okay. So let's get Dance on Demand in front of them, because maybe they would take a ballet bar, or maybe they would take a tap class or something. I'm just trying to think outside the box, right? Just doing that. And in the meantime, these business owners saw the value of like, oh my gosh, if all these businesses come together. And then because of my nerdy self, I was like, okay, I'll take it on and create a download for our community. So they come, the community downloads, and we all basically have our ad inside this PDF that the community gets for free. And in the meantime, we get more brand awareness. So the chiropractor is sharing it out to their network. I'm sharing it out to my network. The acupuncturist is sharing it out to their network, the PDF of offers that we all have inside this download. And then I just head it up. I take care of the back end office. So they're basically, it's a revenue stream for me, because I've created this opportunity for these business owners to come together, but we're all sharing it out to our networks, via emails and whatever. So it's just, a unique way of working together, and it's brought in another income stream for my studio. Am I explaining that okay?
That. Yeah, I love it. So do they pay you to be part of that? Is that how that runs?
Yeah. So they pay me to be part of it. And that was an outside of the box idea. Doesn't relate to dance at all. It's more of the business B2B. And, it goes after my marketing heart. That fuels me there. And then plays into the podcast too, because then they can get a podcast episode. It's brick-and-mortar visibility. So it's getting their name out in the community more. So it was kind of this thing that I'm like, I have all these things. Let's bring them together and create something of value for them. And they're seeing the value of it. And then in our community, I mean, it's free for our community to get this. So maybe that can spin an idea for you in a way that goes, okay, how does it, cause there's your studio, and there's classes and workshops you can do too. But I love connecting with people one-on-one. So I go to my networking meetings. I go to the Women's Business Bureau thing. I go to those, and I am super intentional about just one person. I'm just going to meet one person today and really get to know them so that I can then follow up, or maybe there's somebody I can connect them to. And that's what I love, is that connection. So I'm not there to work the room. I'm there to meet one or two people and see who I can connect them to, or see how we can work together to grow each other up. So lean into what you're good at. That happens to be what my thing is, and I enjoy it. So therefore I'm good at it. So I have learned, if mama's having fun, we're all having fun. And if we're not having fun, it's not going to get done. So that's what I do. So leaning into that.
Beautiful.
So then, when you're doing these things, you want to make sure you're sweetening the deal, I call it. You want to make sure there's something for everybody. The value, like I talked about with the healthy and the value, we want to make sure there's value there. With our collaboration with the library, it was a trick or treat thing. It went so well. It's such a silly little collaboration, but it was so great for us because it brought in so many leads for us. And we had our opt-in for our studio is a first class free. Okay. Mm-hmm. But at this trick or treat event, I wasn't going to give that because you can get that anytime. So thankfully I had somebody with me, and she was like, no, let's do a free session. So 6 weeks of dance free. Well, now that's $100 value at least for families. So it was hysterical because the kiddos would come up, get their candy. Oh yeah, there's coloring sheets too. And parents here, you can sign up here for a free session, and you could just see their eyes open and mouth drop like, what? A free session? No, not just a dance class, like a whole session. Sure. So then we're getting emails and phone numbers and hundreds of leads right there, just by making sure the offer is worth for them to set down their purse and bag and fill something out. We're going to make that easier for next year, but we want to make sure it's worth their time to give you their number. And those are all great leads. Those were our perfect people.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Just the ideas are even rushing to me. So I can imagine our listeners just going, oh, just didn't even think about that. Oh, this is so good. This is why I love collaborating too.
I do too, right? It's like, oh, I didn't even think of that. And then back to capturing the name and number, make it as easy as possible for them. Okay. So, even this digital thing, the Healthy in the Valley, make it such a no-brainer offer that they go, oh, fine. Yeah. Yes, I'll do it because it helps me. Oh, so, and it doesn't have to be a price point. That's the kicker. It can be the bonuses or the incentives that you give on top of it. Okay. So for the trick or treat thing, yes, it was a free session, and, capture their email or whatever, but do it. They literally were writing it out. So maybe it's a QR code. Everybody has their phone out. So just get that QR code. So then they can voice memo it into their, make it as simple as possible. Cause it is, I have learned, just recently. And, if it's 1 or 2 clicks, it's too much. It's just too much work for them to do. Then make it a win for everybody. That's my next tip. Make it a win. So with the trick or treat thing, no matter what whoever walked past, somebody won something everywhere. So whether it was a piece of candy, whether it was a coloring sheet, or whether it was a drawing for a free class. Okay. So everybody could walk away with something, and then your business card or your brochure. Okay. And then my other tip is have a wing woman or man. But I know my strength is talking to the kiddos, getting down on their level, or talking one-on-one with a parent. I am not the person to say, hey, come on over and sign up for blah, blah, blah. That is not me. But I had somebody with me who did it so well and so effortlessly, and she didn't sound slimy or she made it like, hey parents, hey, we have this really great offer if you're interested. Even I'm stuttering right now saying it. She said it so well. And I just was like, Leslie, you just did that really, really well. And she happened to come with me just because it was a beautiful day. And she's like, hey, do you need some help? And I said, yeah, sure. That'd be great. Like I wasn't intentional about bringing somebody with me, but always have somebody with you. You do things better when I have my bestie with me, I'm more brave, right? So she was she was that person. And I'm like, you know what, Leslie, you're just going to announce that free class and free session. I'm just going to talk to the kiddos because that's what I do really well with. Like I get down on their level and just talk to them, like ask them what they're doing and what they're wearing and all that. So it was that way I could do well in my zone of genius and she could do well with her. So have somebody with you.
I love that. And that's that complementing each other's energy, isn't it?
Yes. It totally is. Totally is.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Okay. What's our next tip?
Our next tip is the excitement comes from you. Okay. So when you're leading an event, for example, the physical therapist workshop that we had, or even this Healthy in the Valley, the excitement comes from you. Okay. So even in the emails, even in, the social posts, if you are not excited about it, it dies quickly. Okay. And, I always like to put things out 4 to 6 weeks. All right. So you're promoting it 4 to 6 weeks in advance. Now you're not sending an email every week or every 3 days, but as it gets closer, you are, and you're posting and doing more social, you're doing reels or whatever. Even today, Healthy in the Valley closes this Friday. So it's the last week of launch. So it's a 3-week launch, which, good or bad, long or short, doesn't matter. It's what it is for me. And I know the energy that takes because you're reaching out, you're private messaging. You're like, hey, this is going on. Even for the event at the studio, people that should be there. Yes, we have all these amazing things like social media and email blasts and, Eventbrite and all the things, Facebook events, but that private message of, hey, Jen, I was just thinking of you. I know that you have blah, 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 but we have this workshop and I think you would really love it. And that personal connection, huge. And that's old school and it works really, really well, y'all. So we have to make time for that, for these events too. So that excitement comes from you.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's a lost art. And I know a lot of women I keep saying women, a lot of people who, our generation, we've been, going for quite a while, in business. And there's a bit of a fear with this younger generation coming up who are finding technology very simple and, it's a second language for them. And there's a bit of intimidation for the older people. Well, I keep saying, go back to old school, go back to letterbox drops, go back because it's been so long since people have actually physically held things in their hand because everything's email, heard voices, like had conversations. It's, I think it's actually a powerful marketing strategy at the moment because it is so different.
It is. Calling, those voice memos are huge, because people they want to know what you said. Sometimes they're frustrating because you just want to read. Like sometimes I'm just like, I want to read quickly what you said. But saying their name, not just, hey there, blah, 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 blah. Say their name and make it personal. Yes, you can cut, copy, paste and tweak just a little bit to make it personal and do the extra, just go the extra mile, And that's what on the days that I'm tired and I'm messaging, my list of 50 people that I'm like, I know they should be here. I don't message everybody. I don't message all, 400, there's a group of people that I want there. And I say, you're my hot list, or I know I was thinking about you and I know you need to be here. So I'm reaching out and making it really personal so that they choose to come. But either way, you'll get a response, when it's personal like that.
Definitely. Yes. Absolutely. I love it. Okay. So where do we move to next?
Yes. I just have 2 more. So at the end, you are going to, wrap it all up with a nice bow. And that kind of ties into this old school way of marketing. We want to make sure we're wrapping it up really nicely at the end. We're sending a handwritten thank you to whoever you collaborated with. Handwritten thank you to the library, that we did that trick or treat thing. We also did a video with the drawing, making sure that was live and documented. And then we put that on our blog and we put that on the socials. And then of course, a handwritten thank you to the library. Same thing with a physical therapist. And then, and so that's what I just like wrapping it up with a nice bow, just finishing it strong. But then the final one is documenting and really taking that time to go through, this is what we did. This is what was a little hairy. And this is, is it worth our time to do this again? Like genuinely ask yourself that, like, cause when it's done in the moment that day, yeah, that was fun, blah, blah, blah. But then wait 24 hours and you're going to go, okay, was that really worth my time? The finances, the resources, the energy, really, really think about that, because when you're in the moment of it, it feel like everything's great. Yeah, that was super fun. Let's do that again. You want to do that again? Sure. Yay. And then.
Yeah. And it has to be worth it. The time and energy that you're putting in, there has to be whatever your reward is, whether that is just financial or whether it's personal or energetically, it has to align with you. So, evaluating, I love that, the power of that. And, I don't feel that we do it enough in business. It's quite when I'm a part of business groups, more, officey type businesses will do that sort of evaluation. And I try and encourage my studio owners to do that. So just have a look, just go back over it. And you don't even need to wipe it. You could just tweak what you've got. If, this part didn't work, just tweak it and try it a different way. Right.
And let's be real, a lot of these events are once a year. Okay. Yes. So you need to, you can have the template of what you did. Okay. So people will be like, oh yeah, I sent this email. I sent this on this. I did this social post of who this person handled the tickets or whatever. Yeah. But that's documenting the system of it. But you need to look back and say, okay, just take that. It might only be an hour of your time. Just go, okay, like for the library thing, that took me like 30 minutes. I mean, it was a little event, but it was like, oh, next year we're going to make sure we have QR codes, make sure we have frames for this, make sure we have extra this, or, the two stereo systems versus just one, or I don't know, so just those things so that you can remember and make it better. Cause we always want to make it better. So take that time intentionally, even on the little events that maybe, we got a bunch of leads, but it wasn't really a financial, like immediate win right then. Our recitals were probably better about that, right? Because we see the financial impact right then and there. So we're going to take that time. But even for these other things, I want you to be intentional, because those leads, it's that ripple effect that just is in the community, and it does come back to you.
Yeah. Oh, look, I love that. And it's about constantly innovating, isn't it? That constantly bettering ourselves, trying different things. I think sometimes we get a little bit hesitant in trying things, that fear of failure, that not wanting to just take that step. And that's the only way we continue to learn and grow. So, and you're, sitting there, every podcast I listen to, and I'm a bit of a junkie when it comes to podcasts, trainings, just listening to things online. If there's one thing I get from any piece of information I consume, and implement it, then that's a win for me. And I mean, I've got so much out of this just speaking to you, so I can only imagine our listeners have as well. So I really, really appreciate that. So finally, are there any advice that you'd like to give to my listeners? If they're feeling overwhelmed or feeling stagnant, where's a good place for them to start?
I love this question. What is your studio? Like, what is your goal of your studio? I think for me, that really helped clarify, where am I going to be intentional about pursuing collaborations? So my studio, we specialize in beginner students of all ages. We start at age 2. So my place I'm going is to the Hudson Moms group. I'm going to the libraries in a 20-mile radius. I am, then going to my business events, business owner of things, because I like the adult time. As great as I am and popular as I am with my little 2s and 3s and 4s, I need some adult time. So I enjoy those collaborations too. And so I have learned what I'm good at and what fuels me. And the goal of our studio. Okay. So then I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to, we're not going to be performing at a community event where they're looking for a dance studio that has like a beautiful company line. We don't have that. Okay. So, however, I fuel the community different ways. So I think that's maybe a nugget, know where your studio is and what you want to be known for. That's what I say to my clients too, with SEO and with the Google. What do you want to be known for? And claim it. And you can start infusing that in your copy, in your website. And then when people look for a top rated studio in Twin Cities, you would come up. Okay. So that's just kind of backwards how I came to, okay, I'm going to really pursue these libraries. And that has been gold for us, doing a little sample class at the library once a month. Gold.
Yeah. I just love that. That's really great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Where can people find you and find out what you offer, work with you, do your trainings? Please let us know.
Yeah. You're so kind. Thank you so much for this time, Jen. Thank you for the great questions and just letting me share. As you know, I could talk about this all the time. I just love, I love collaborations, and I'm really passionate about the studio and brick and mortar owner. When we open a brick and mortar business, that's a big deal, y'all. And studio owners, especially, because we have to have a huge space. Just the fact that you're in business and you're doing it and you're shining your light really bright and being brave and bold and big, that's a big deal. So you guys can find me on the Brick and Mortar Visibility Podcast. I come out weekly with little nuggets of shows of visibility strategies that I've learned in my brick and mortar business to help you in yours. And then my website is MsMelissaRose.com. Otherwise, thedancinghouse.com is my studio. You can check that out and just see what goodness we're up to there. So,
hey, studio owner, if you are ready to have classes so full you need a waitlist, an incredible team who are exceptional with your dancers, or simply generate more revenue for your studio, then I want to invite you to join Dance Business Academy. Now, whether you are just getting started or striving to hit the elusive $1 million mark, Dance Business Academy will give you the confidence and know-how you need to transform your studio and build your dance studio empire. Just send me an email to info@danceteachercentral.com and I'll send you through the details.